Hello class! How are you all doing today? I am Mr. Sad, and today we've got a fun art lesson for you guys to be a part of. What we're going to do is we're going to be looking at a famous piece of artwork to help us learn a little bit more about art together. Let's start by understanding that today I have a special job for you. Are you ready for that special job? That special job is you're going to be some art detectives. Now, as an art detective, you're going to be looking for as many clues as possible in these pieces of art. So, here's what I need you to do. I need you to put on your detective cap, grab a magnifying glass, and let's get started looking for some artistic clues. Here is our first piece. What do you see? Take a minute to look at the artwork. What do you see with your eyes? Look for those clues. Alright, detectives, did you find something? Did you find any good clues? I'm going to model what I found in the art as I was looking at it myself. That way, the next time you do this, you'll be able to see what kind of answers I'm looking for. So, did I find something? Well, yes. In this picture, I see lots of pretty colors and lines. Some of these lines make shapes. I also see something that looks like a sponge. These are some of the clues that I found out. What about some of yours? Next, we're going to ask, what makes you say that? Why do you believe that's what that clue is? Why do you believe that? And again, I'm going to model this for you. The shape that I see reminds me of a sponge because it is yellow and looks like it has holes inside of it or on the texture. That's where I got that idea from. Can you do that too? What makes you say what you saw? And the final question, detectives, are you ready? What else can we find? As we look over this painting, what else can you find besides maybe the one or two things you saw at first? What else can we find? Again, I'm going to model this for you. Some shapes and colors remind me of flowers. If you look closely, you'll see over in the corner next to the sponge, there's a plant-looking image that to me reminds me of a sunflower. So, what else can you find in this picture? Comment and let me know. Great job, detectives. I'm sure you found lots of interesting clues when you were looking over this piece of work. Now, before I tell you who made this and what kind of artwork this is, I'm going to show you another picture, one that looks eerily similar to the last one. And what I would like you to do is answer those three questions again. Did you find something? What makes you say that? What else can we find? Again, I look forward to hearing your response after you've looked at the photo. Alright, detectives, let's bring it back in. Did you notice something strange about these two pieces? They are actually the same, except one is flipped upside down. Both of these paintings are by a popular painter named Kandinsky. Can you say that? Say these three with me. Can, din, and ski. Let's do some hand signs for that, right? Let's hold up a can. Can. A din. Let's go into a din. I'm living in a din. Din. And let's pretend we're skiing. Ski. 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 So let's say it again real fast. Can. Din. Ski. He was a painter that was known for his paintings, which were very beautiful, but they were abstract, but they used a lot of color, line, and shapes. This painting that Kandinsky made was called Watercolor Number 13, and he used watercolor paints in order to make it. So, pretty cool, huh? Isn't it interesting how we look at something and it changes what we believe what it is? This is called perspective. I want you to say that word with me, and when you do, I want you to get some goggles on. When I say perspective, let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. Perspective. Perspective is how you see something. Our perspectives can be very different. How we see something changes when we do. Have any of you ever been scared by something when you were younger and now you're not? Maybe it was dogs, maybe it was loud noises, but now you're fine. Your perspective has changed. You now see something scary differently now. What about food? Is there a food you used to hate? Ugh. But now you actually enjoy it? For me, it was mustard. That is also perspective. How we see something is very important in art and in life. Today, we will be exploring perspective and how we view art differently. We will do that by looking at different types of lines. So, here's our goals for the day. Are you ready? I want you to repeat my I can statements after me. I can identify and draw at least 3 types of lines. I can remember the artist Kandinsky and say his name. I can describe perspective in my own words. Those are our 3 goals today. And really, we've already accomplished 2, hopefully. But we'll see at the very end if we've got them memorized. Let's get started by looking at some lines from an awesome book called Lines That Wiggle by Candace Whitman. When you think of lines, what do you imagine? Take a second to imagine a line. What is it you see? What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my dry erase board to draw some lines. And whenever I think of a line, the first thing that comes to my mind is this beginner line. What would you call this line? Many of us would call it a straight line. And that is true. It is a straight line. So you can write the word S-T-R-A-I-G-H-T in your journal and then draw a straight line. Just like that. Going from left to right. I'm going to do it again. I'll put my pen down, left to right. So now that we have a straight line, there are actually different names for this line also. Particularly this straight line is also known as a horizontal line. And that's a big word, and I'm going to spell it for you. There it is. H-O-R-I-Z-A-N-T-A-L. And a horizontal line goes left to right. Think of like walking on a road, a horizontal road. But there are many different lines besides straight and horizontal lines. And so we're going to take a look at the book, Lines That Wiggle, to see what are some of those lines. Let's start with the first page over here. And this is normally where I would pull out the book and show you each individual page, but since I do not have the book, I will have to use pictures instead. Our first page shows us 2 different lines. These are lines that wiggle and lines that bend. What would you call these lines? Today we're going to learn that these lines are actually called curvy lines. And I'd like you to write curvy in your journal. C-U-R-V-Y. Curvy. And how do you draw curvy lines? Well, there's many different ways you can do that. One way you can draw a curvy line is by drawing the letter C. That is a curve. Or drawing a smiley face. That's another curvy line. But the lines that wiggle remind me of a different line, and those are called wavy lines. Why don't you write wavy in there too? W-A-V-Y. Wavy. And what are wavy lines? Well, wavy lines have a bunch of curves in them. Watch as I draw these wavy lines, and you do them too. Notice all the curves that are in this wavy line. And they seem to repeat each other over and over again. So now we have curvy lines and wavy lines. What about the next one? The next page says lines in leaves. Do you see where these lines and leaves are? But what would you call these lines? They don't really have a name. Some of us would call these straight lines. And I see some vertical or horizontal lines. But what about lines that are like this? Up and down and slanted, like these. These are two different lines also. The first one is a vertical line. Vertical. Whoops. Vertical. Vertical lines go up and down, straight up and down. I see vertical lines when I see fences and gates. The other type of line is called angle lines, and it's spelled A-N-G-L-E. Angle. They are lines that are slanted at an angle. They're not all the way straight like a vertical line, and they're not all the way flat like a horizontal line. These are angle lines, and I see them all over this page. The next page shows a really cool picture of a storm cloud and lightning. The lightning bolts in this picture are zigzag lines, and I know you guys know what these are. I'm going to write zigzag on my board. Zig, zag. Zigzag. Messed up my G there a little bit. Zigzag. And to draw zigzag lines, it's like putting multiple angle lines together. Watch. Angle, 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 angle. But they don't have to keep going, repeating over and over again. Zigzag lines can just go back and forth. Give me your best zigzag line. I'm going to do a different one. Zigzag, 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 zigzag. Looks like a bunch of lightning bolts. Now my last two pages are real fun. The next one is lines that trap. This is my favorite line to draw, and it doesn't have a name, but I like to see the lines that are in the web look like angle lines and straight lines. But what about the lines that have caught the monster in the book? I call these curly lines. You can write that. C-U-R-L-Y. Curly lines. And curly lines are like wavy lines, but they make these little loops. So, this is one of my favorite lines because when I draw lines that trap, I usually do something like this. Loop, 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 and loop, 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 loop. Can you see where I caught my monster? This is fun. Draw your own curvy lines that trap a monster. So, those are some examples of some fun lines that you can do. Aren't lines pretty cool? The last page in the book says lines are everywhere. And there are some that aren't even in this book. So, let's wrap up with an art challenge. Art challenges, again, are just ways to make sure that we learn something today. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some lines, and I want to see if you can guess what it is. Here's your first line. Are you ready? Three, two, one. What kind of line is it? It's a zigzag line. You see all those angles that are coming together? It looks like lightning bolt, zigzag lines. Good job if you guessed zigzag lines. Here's your next one. Three, two, one. Did you guess it? This is a wavy line. See the waves that are going up and down? If you said curly lines, you would have been close. But curly lines are more like this. They make loops. And I would say that curvy and wavy lines are very similar. Let's do a few more. What kind of lines are these? They're pointing up and down. 3, 2, 1. These are vertical lines. If you said vertical, great job. And the last line. What kind of lines are these? They're going from left to right, and they look like the road. These lines are called 3, 2, 1. Horizontal lines. So guys, how'd you do? What was your favorite line that you learned about today? Mine were angle lines, and I enjoyed seeing the curvy lines that trapped a monster. Those are usually my favorite ones. But today we learned many different types of lines, and hopefully you've committed 3 to memory. We were also detectives, and we learned the name of an artist. Do you remember what that artist's name was? Again, remember. That's right. If you said Kandinsky, then you are correct. We also talked about perspective and how art and life can change when we change our views sometimes. So, hopefully today, kiddos, you've learned something. I really enjoyed talking to you about lines and perspective. Next time we meet, we will learn how we can incorporate lines into other aspects of art and how we can make our own line art and maybe add some color in, like in Kandinsky's watercolor number 13. But I've enjoyed it. I hope you had a great day. If you are still here and you want to leave a comment below, why don't you write down what were the 3 lines that you learned about today, and maybe in your own words, what does perspective mean to you? I'll catch you next time. See you guys.